What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of MUT Tips. I'm your host, Sean Taylor from the Made Up Theater, and before we jump in, make sure to like the video down below, comment with something you would like addressed in a future video, and as always, subscribe on YouTube to be informed of upcoming videos and live streams. Ring that bell. Now let's jump into today's topic, inventing versus investing. In improvised scenes, there's a balance between inventing and investing. Inventing typically occurs at the beginning of a scene, right? We're setting the foundations for what's about to happen through yes and. And through yes and, we discover the who, the what, the where. And then comes investing, which means now we have these details, let's play with them. The inventing is creating the playground, and the investing is, heck, going down the slide, swinging on that swing. This is where we get to play with our creation. I always encourage students to not invent too much, because inventing too many details and, having too many choices that we're juggling, it causes choices to drop and the reality becomes less believable. And it makes our ability to invest in the invention more complicated. So at a point in any improvised scene, it's time to stop inventing and start investing. I'll give you an example that happened in a recent intro class that I taught, where we were practicing status in two-person scenes. And the scene suggestion, I believe, was Disneyland, and one person chose to be a park attendant, and the other person chose to be a lost patron, like they're looking for a specific part of the park, but they don't know where it is. So they go to the person who, to them, has high status. They know where things are. They are an attendant. But the park attendant made a kind of a cool choice to be not very knowledgeable, have kind of low self-esteem, at the bottom of the hierarchy at Disneyland, essentially, even though this patron saw them as high status. Like, hey, this person could lead me to where I need to go. And they had an interesting, little interaction, and the park patron, after receiving, some help from the attendant, said, "Wow, you were really helpful. Thank you." And kind of just gave a really nice line to them. And then an invention happened where the park, attendant decided to reveal that they actually don't work at the park. And it caused a little bit of a disconnect between the two characters because it was just kind of like an M. Night Shyamalan twist to the scene. And I ended the scene, and then we talked about it a little bit. And there was a really great opportunity for investment that was missed, and I think a lot of people sometimes do miss that. The students said the reason they made that choice to reveal they didn't work at Disneyland, that big twist, was because they felt like not enough was happening. Sometimes we invent because we feel like, there's not a plot or there's not conflict. The things that we feel like need to be in scenes, they are essential ingredients, when not always. And there was a moment that was missed, that you statement directed at the attendant of hey, thanks, you helped me a lot. You're really good at your job. And that was a good line because, hey, it's a you statement, first of all. Those are good lines to invest in. And it was a moment to change this low status attendant, to more high status. They were told they did a good job. At the beginning of the scene, they said they didn't have a lot of jurisdiction in the park. They weren't treated maybe well at the park. They were just a low status employee. But to this patron, they were the guide of the scene. They helped and made this person more, informed of hey, where they are at Disneyland. So it elevated both of them. And that's a great opportunity to now let's just invest in this relationship. If this line is said, now what happens? We don't have to invent other details. The attendant can be saying just the word, really? That's a great word to say to somebody when they drop an offer to you that is directed towards you. Really? It just shows it's impacting you. A good way to practice this is do a two-person scene with somebody and have your back to them, okay? Close your eyes, you can sit down or stand up, whatever you want to do. I think sitting down is a little bit better for this exercise, and have a scene. And I've noticed when people do this type of a scene, when their eyes are closed, backs to each other, they listen a lot more. And we invest a shitload more if we are listening stronger. So this is a good way to, not get distracted by the other details of the scene, the stage, the creation element, and just focus on, hey, let's just have a scene where we're just reacting to the line that just came to us. Let every line hit you strongly, and just see where it progresses without the need to constantly invent new details. Invest in the details that you've already created. And that concludes this episode of MUT Tips, everybody. Thank you so much for checking it out. Really appreciate it. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time for another episode of MUT Tips. Bye!